good to see you again. We're going to be doing the van. Now, when I first got this van about 2 years ago, I realised there was potential for me to get around the country doing some good fishing, and I started in earnest to do the actual conversion of the van. Currently at this time it is the 4th of March 2013. The clear air zone is still under review, but it means that I may only have 12 months of being able to use a van free around Manchester, maybe even less than that, to be perfectly honest. So I needed to do something in that time to use and utilise the van. I may just finish the project in its entirety later on and keep up my driveway and just pay the £9 or £12 or whatever it may well be at a weekend to leave and enter Manchester again. It's cheaper than a motel or a hotel, no matter what kind of word you want to use. Now, in that time I realised that the first conversion I did, or part conversion I did, wasn't right for my needs. Now, most people, as you can see now, have the bed at the back of the van, the sink near the front, and that works for them as a day van, but for fishing, for me, it just didn't work. So I needed to do this on the cheap, I mean as cheaply as possible, and this is what I'm doing here. I've got one of my own IKEA bedside tables, or I think it's actually, no, it's not a bedside table, it's an office table or side unit for a desk. I put the sink in the top and I'm putting a splashback on there, and that's made out of an old wardrobe. So that's an old wardrobe over there, and this is an IKEA bed which I actually got from out and about on my journeys off somebody, basically from the back garden. I noticed it while I was working, asked where they can have the bits for it, and I duly took it. What am I going to be doing with this on a budget build? Well, I'll explain. Now, the first biggest problem I had with a fishing van for what I needed, which was mixed course and sea fishing, was storage. When I had the van set up before with the head of the bed back here and the sink over on the far door over there, that worked as a day van if you're a surfer and you pulled your kit out there and you sat in there and you had a drink of tea, coffee, or even a little drink. But for me it completely didn't work, because when you actually load the van full of fishing kit, I actually put my rods across the top up there and a sink, and when you lay down after fishing late at night, you have the bed that folded out in front of you there, right down the centre of the van. There's no room for your kit, your wellies, everything. It didn't work, it really didn't work. So I had to have brainstorm and think about what I was going to do with that. And with that then I decided to put a fixed bed here in place, going so my head can either be at the bottom or at the top, depending on how I feel, or the incline of the hill when the van's like that. I also put some storage, and this here is going to have a full extendable drawer which holds my full length carp fishing rods or sea fishing rods, which are very big. They're like 7-foot lengths, and a 7-foot length in the van when you're trying to sleep as well didn't work. So by having that sliding all the way out there, which I'm currently building, that eliminates that problem. So I can put my tripod in, I can slide it all the way in with my rods, and in this side here I can put my reels, my lures, my fishing tackle. That is only a short drawer, so when this drawer comes out, I'm going to build an identical drawer on the reverse of that, which I'll talk about in a minute, that goes behind that. So when that shuts down, there's another drawer at that part to hold bait and that kinds of things. Now, with it having a fixed big bed in there, it gives me loads of storage underneath this. So when I've got back from fishing, I can clean up with the sink that's over there. I can go to bed relatively clean and tidy, with plenty of space to cook, clean, make a drink of tea without actually making a mess. Now, a mess was the biggest problem. When you finish late at night and you throw everything in the van, you shove it underneath the bed, you do whatever needs to be done in the old design. It wasn't right. Plain. Always when you try and do something, there's always a plane or something, isn't there? Well, I hope they're going on a nice holiday or something. We'll carry on regardless. Now, all of this has cost me about 30 quid so far in reused materials, and by repainting and trying to find a way of making it work, it works for me. So I'm not bothered if it looks professional. I am not a joiner. I am not a joiner, so I'm doing the best I can. Now, on the bed, we're using an existing mattress, I've got a sprung place for it to lie on. It's sprung, not a hardboard like you get on some rock and roll beds, but a proper bed, which I've cut down, and I can actually get the right mattress from IKEA, which is going to be 190 by 80, so it's enough for me. It's a fair enough size for me. Now I noticed a couple other YouTubers have done this and they made some shorter beds, and it's a problem because you're stuck on how you're going to lie. So that's that. Let's have a look around here. I also come to realise that I needed the sink to be really easy access, and also got a tube here so I can put the excess out the side of the van into a container if need be. Now, with having this here easy access, let's wait for this fan to go past. With having this here easy access, it's easier to tidy up when I've actually been fishing and clean myself up. I've got hanging pot towels and things there that can go there. I've got the water, and I've got my cooking utensils that can go in this drawer here as well. Which also means while sat in the van I've got enough head clearance. I can clean up, put everything away in the side there, and then I can actually cook my dinner here, clean, tie rigs, do everything that I need to do in here. Now we've been in this point here, it gives me access to look out at the ocean looking at you now, look behind me when I'm in bed, or with the back doors wide open I can look directly out towards the sea. This works a lot better for me. Now comment below, tell me what else you think I'd need in this day van for fishing. What do I need? Because it'd be good to know and find out what your thoughts are on this whole process. Just a little video, and we'll talk about more in the next video, yeah? Now storage I found was a massive problem. It was a massive problem, and with having this as a solid bed here, it then gave me the option, which I'm still building now, to put more storage underneath the bed. So clothes, food, well food could be stored up there to be honest when I get something on the front of that cupboard over there. But food, clothes, that kind of thing became imperative when I was out at the coast. So I needed to make sure I got all the things I needed for this cheap build. So now I can store things in there very easily. Like so, in there. Get 3 out of there, and I've extended it out a little bit with that little platform there so I can slide it out without having the need to put in drawers on there, if that makes sense. Now the other point in there is there's another shelf, drawer should I say, is going to come out in the inside there, which I'm going to put a fridge compartment in there, a little like kind of isolated foamed foiled area to store my bait in, which also works out really well for the boilies when you go carp fishing, for instance. You got that frozen bait that needs to be kept there, and by putting a small fan in there, which I'll do in the future, I'll be able to actually keep that refrigerated, because I've got 2 sets of power inverters. These actually convert the 12 volt to 240 volt. So I've got one there for the fridge, which is going to go in the back there, and I've got 7,000 volts over on the other side of the van there for hair dryers for girls, charging your phones, TV, radio, charging my batteries up for the camera kit and that kind of thing. So that is part 1 of what I'm doing with my van on the cheap. It's going to cost me a little bit more money. Got to get some things from IKEA, brilliant IKEA. Some of the stuff I've got in there for fan conversions are phenomenal, but literally it's a little bit rough. It's not professional. I'm not a joiner, but this is going to be a lot better for me for doing the filming. So in the last 30 days, instead of me going out doing filming, I've been concentrating on trying to sort the van out, for fishing for the next 12 months. Now you think this through. If the van gets scrapped, this van here, because of the clear air zone, this is an 08 Vito, it's had its time, it's had its value. And an Airbnb, 70, 80, 200 pound for the weekend for an Airbnb. So if I only spend 200 pound on the conversion here through using reclaimed bits and pieces like the bed frame, like my bait containers I used to use for storing my bait when I'm making bait, or drying bait should I say, when I used to make boilies, all that becomes a lot better. So on that note, I'll see you on the next video when I sanded all the timber down, I cleaned it all up, I put the mattress in, I put the shelf in for the rods, and you can see its entirety, and then I get some fishing done from the van, which means I can do full weekends, disappearing, self-sufficient. Oh, I need to talk about something else as well. The other thing I'm doing as well is I've not put any glass in the side of the van whatsoever. No stickers saying it's a camper van, because that's stealth camping. When you actually go to some areas at the coastline throughout the UK, they don't actually like campers. They don't like wild camping. So when I go to sleep in this at night time, it's just a van. That's it. Can't beat that, can you? And you can't actually move on because it's a van.